Let's install the Pedal KIT version 3.
They are hilarious, but they satisfy the law, and it's all that matters.
This is what's in the box. These are the pedals, so I ordered the pedals with it. Packaging is not very impressive, it's just bubble wrap, but I've ordered the pedals. I also ordered the crank arms because these are shorter, and that's very, very important. This is not a bike that you're gonna pedal, it's just to make it legal, so it's gonna be more comfortable. Hard to find those. It comes with this axle, which is important for the installation. It comes with 2 brackets, it's labeled left and right, so that is pretty nice, nice CNC aluminum. And it comes with, this is a compression sprocket, and then this is the one that's gonna go on the axle, and then obviously you have a chain with a master link. To save paper, documentation is all on the internet. Or watch my video, step by step. This is how it's done. To do the installation easier, I'm gonna work with the bike upside down. There is a chain guard over here that needs to be removed. 2 bolts, one over here and one just under it over there. And now looking at it, I noticed that it had another bolt over here on this side, which it didn't exist on my bike, so most likely it fell off. The next step is to remove this entire assembly. So this entire assembly can come off. These little brackets, here left and here right, is because you're getting new brackets in the kit. You also have to take the skid plate off. The reason you have to take the skid plate off is that you have to remove the kickstand sensor. It needs to be removed. That means you have to twist it over here quite a lot. Now, the other option would be to just take this off and turn this bracket around it. That's another option, so you don't have to take this entire assembly off. So I've used the spinning method without removing the entire skid plate off. And now you have to take the spring out. So this spring it's quite strong. So this is a compression sprocket. This installs on this axle over here. So you have 2 Allen wrenches, you have to take them apart. And then there's another Allen wrench that's gonna lock it so it doesn't spin into place. This is gonna go in here. And you're not gonna tie anything yet. So just put this, you're gonna start with this piece because this is the hardest to get to. Make sure all your bolts are Loctite. I always install Loctite on all my bolts. This is also a very, very important piece. There's a special locking mechanism in here. So when you turn the pedals, this is gonna turn this way, but then you see it slides in it. So this has to be to the right side if your bike is upside down like mine, or to the left side. So it has to go with the pedals. Make sure you don't install it in reverse. These are the brackets. They're labeled left and right. My bike is upside down, so keep that in mind. This installs over here with the original bolts that came off from the other, and this one is on the other side. The bearing has to be on the inside. The axle has to go through the bearing. So this is the right side, which is left on this side because it's upside down. So Loctite on the bolts, and get it in there. There's no washer or anything like that. This bolt is specifically designed to fit into that hole. So how tight do you have to be? Well, some people don't have torque wrenches, and then you just have to be like nice and tight by hand. So just keep that in mind, is that you don't have to have the most specialized tools for it. You just go nice and tight on it. And as long as you have Loctite, it will hold them in place, and you want to verify them later on, make sure they don't get loose. Time to install the left side. This is the kickstand side. Now it's the tricky part. So you have the axle. So this is the hardest part to understand because of this special bearing that you have over here. So this axle has a reverse thread over here and a right thread over here. It's even labeled right side, so it's even labeled. You take everything off the axle. You leave this knot in here. First, you're gonna put it through this bearing first. It's gonna barely fit. Then you're gonna put one of these rings. These are locking rings. You're gonna put these rings in. Now, this is the wheel that has to go in. So this is gonna be towards the left side. So you're gonna put this one on the axle. You'll see why in a second, it will make sense. Then you'll put the second ring. This is the inside ring that's gonna keep this axle not going anywhere. And then you're gonna be able to put it through this other bearing over here. And with a little bit of a determination, it should go through. This one has to fit those little channels. So there's like two little channels over there. This one is gonna fit into the channel. I'm gonna just hand tight it because I still have to align it with the other sprocket on the other side. And this is very, very important why it has to be done this way. So when you're pedaling, you're moving the pedals this way. So my foot pushes them this way. So this axle is gonna turn this way. You see this bearing over here is locked. So it's moving this teeth. But when I'm going with my pedals in reverse, then it's spinning into that bearing. And then like this, and then it's moving into the bearing. So this has to be in the right direction. That's why it has to, the face with the bolts have to face the right side
if you did the right side at the right place.
Why is that important? So this one is in a fixed position because of those channels that you have on this axle. And this one over here on this side has to be aligned. So there's going to be a chain driving this one to that one, right? So because you have a chain that is going to drive them, you have to have enough room for this chain to go in. So right now I have enough room on this side. I have enough room on this side so I could lock those nuts out. And then I'm going to put the chain on, make sure that they are in complete line and then lock them into place. Also, what's the purpose of these rings? Well, these are also very, very important. And one is in here. So what this one will do is you have to align. You see here how it's aligned just a little bit over. So you want to have equal side over here and equal side over here. So this one has to be aligned, and then you torque this down. So then keeps the axle from sliding left to right. So that's why the purpose of these bolts. The next step is going to be putting the cranks on so I could grab on something and spin them so I could align this chain properly. The cranks are identical, but one is labeled right. Even though they're identical, the reason this one is labeled right is that one has this special groove over here for the pedal assist sensor, which I did not order with this kit. So theoretically, I can put them in any order, but you want to put the right on the right side and the left on the left side. Also, make sure you stack them. So if this one is facing back, then this one is going to face forward. And now with the pedals on, I could spin this easier so I could align the chain. This is the chain, this is the master link. It splits in half. And then you just put the chain through the sprockets. Pull really hard on it, and I'm going to put the master link through. So here's the tricky part. At this point, I'm ready to tighten these two nuts. So this should not be allowed to play on the axle, so give them a nice snug. Okay, so this is fixed. This sprocket is fixed. Now, what I have to make sure right now is that you see how this sprocket is still sliding over here, so I could slide it left and right. You want to be aligned perfectly to your chain. So otherwise your chain is going to have like this horrible grinding noise. So, and then it's going to have a premature wear. So just get a really, really good view this way. Tighten it. Okay, so you're going to tighten it and then spin the pedals. Make sure that it's in line. Finding the right tools that fit there is going to be your greatest challenge, but it just happens that I have really, really good tools. Yeah, finding one that fits in there and gives you the reach that you need is going to be the greatest challenge of the installation. Next, you're going to install the pedals. Now, I thought that these are aluminum, that actually they're plastic. So I'm a little bit disappointed as far as that goes, but it's not the end of the world. And these are reverse thread, so keep that in mind. One of them is reverse thread. So it's gonna go in here. And you have to get this Loctite, so I'm gonna put some Loctite on it. Once the Loctite is in there, you have a little Allen wrench here on the inside that will allow you to tighten it. So they tighten from the inside over here. And this is the final result. The pedals spin this way, and the entire mechanism is gonna spin the wheels. Now this is, as I said, mostly for going into compliance. Not gonna be the most pleasurable thing to pedal on, but it's a bicycle now. Last but not least, this is gonna be the kickstand. So this is gonna go in here. When I took it out, it had a spacer in between here to make it a little bit more tight. So I'm gonna put this spacer in here, slide it in, and then this bolt is already threaded for it. This is the old pin from the old bracket. This one has to come off. And this pin goes on the inside, and it has a bolt, also Loctite on it. It has a thread over here, goes on the inside. Very important not to strip it, so this is going to be also held by the Loctite and by the spring. There's all kinds of spring tools out there, but I'm going to use my locking pliers. These grab really, really well. Here it is, so I locked it in place. And now the easiest way to install them is on the lower part. So when the kickstand is fully extended, and take the thing out, and look how nice it fits in there. Now that you verify that everything is working fine, and then you have free motion going back and resistance going forward, then you're gonna tighten these bolts because these are compression cranks, so that has to go in there so it doesn't play. And if you've done them right, this is the motion you should have. They should go backwards, easy, and have resistance going forward. So right now I'm gonna start pedaling. It's hilarious, but the law is the law.
They are hilarious, but they satisfy the law, and that's all that matters. Thanks for watching.